Chris and Meg Griffin are not your average brother and sister. Instead of normal sibling arguments, they blackmail each other, steal from the elderly, crash funerals, and even share some moments that cross way to many lines. Whenever these two are involved, things go from awkward to absolute disaster in record time. Today, we are counting down the wildest sibling moment Chris and Meg have ever had in Family Guy. Let's start the show. High school is already brutal for Chris Griffin, but in season 11, episode 13, things hit a new low when his own sister becomes his worst enemy. What begins as a simple fight over sneakers quickly spirals into blackmail, servitude, and Chris running away from home straight into Herbert's arms. It all starts when Chris gets roasted at school for his ugly sneakers. The insults cut deep, and he begs Lois and Peter for new shoes. Of course they shut him down, because in true Griffin parent fashion, they would rather mock him than help.
When I was your age, I didn't even have sneakers. We wore stale hamburger buns.
No, you didn't, Peter.
So Chris decides to take matters into his own hands and steals cash from Lois's purse. That might have worked, except Meg catches him red-handed.
Busted.
Geez, it's so weird that Mom and Dad would leave the house without their purse and wallet. I wonder where they are.
Instead of ratting him out, Meg seizes her chance. She tells Chris she will keep quiet, but only if he becomes her personal servant. Chris agrees, and just like that, Meg has total control.
I'll do whatever you want.
I thought you'd see it that way. Here's a list of stuff I need you to do for me. Shouldn't have taken that money, Chris.
At first it is chores and homework, but soon she is forcing Chris into increasingly bizarre requests. Helping her put in contact lenses, comforting her during sappy movies, basically treating him like a mix between a butler and an emotional support animal.
You look like one of those blind jazz guys.
Where are you? I can't see anything!
The blackmail keeps escalating until Chris snaps. He tells Meg he is done being her puppet and threatens to run away. Meg laughs it off, but Chris actually does it. And where does he end up? Of course, Herbert's house.
Do you mind if I live with you?
Live with me? My goodness, I feel like I'm gonna pinch myself to see if I'm dreaming.
Nothing says safe haven like moving in with the town's resident old man predator. Chris hangs out there for a while, glued to video games, while Herbert hovers like he just won the lottery.
Geez, I'm sorry. Well, can we watch Lost Boys? I've heard of that one.
Those are different Lost Boys.
Back at home, Meg covers for him, but eventually she has to admit Chris is gone. When she finally tracks him down, the siblings have a rare heart-to-heart. Chris admits life is rough for both of them, and Meg realizes turning on each other only makes things worse. For a moment, they actually bond, deciding that no matter how messed up their family is, they need to stick together.
I'll never do anything like that again. You think you can ever forgive me?
Yeah, I forgive you.
But their twisted teamwork does not stop there. Next up, Chris and Meg take their sibling bond to a whole new low when they start robbing old people at a nursing home. If you thought Meg blackmailing Chris was bad, in season 14, episode 16, the siblings graduate from petty family drama to full-blown criminals. This time, their target is not each other, it is an entire retirement home. It begins with Meg getting the short end of the stick at school. For community service, the cool kids land easy gigs, while Meg is stuck working in a nursing home. Day 1, and the elderly residents waste no time tearing into her. They insult her looks, her future, basically everything about her existence.
And between you and me, I hate my new student volunteer. That ugly little Meg.
Meg tries to tough it out, but when she spots a shiny brooch in a resident's drawer, she steals it. And in Meg's mind, it is totally justified. After all, if the old lady is going to be mean, then why not take her jewelry?
Ooh, I should text this to my best friend.
Sick brooch!
Chris eventually notices Meg flaunting her new treasure, and instead of shutting her down, he wants in. The problem is, Chris has zero subtlety. He literally pretends to be the angel of death to swipe valuables, dragging residents out of bed and loading up on coats, glasses, and whatever else is lying around.
You died, and I'm here to take you to heaven. Upsy daisy, here we go!
The two quickly become partners in crime, stockpiling creepy knickknacks and wearing other people's belongings like trophies. Their spree is so over the top that even they start to feel guilty. So they try to sneak everything back into the nursing home, but of course, they get caught red-handed. The residents corner them, demanding an explanation. Meg and Chris apologize, expecting forgiveness, but instead of calling the cops, the residents hand down a worse punishment. The siblings are sentenced to spend time with the elderly every afternoon after school.
Feed me pudding while I grip your wrist in terror. This isn't my house.
But crime is only one side of their relationship. Sometimes Chris and Meg's sibling bond shows up in more surprising ways, like when Chris risks his own neck to protect Meg in roller derby. Sibling rivalry usually means pranks and insults, but in season 15 episode 16, Chris proves that sometimes he is willing to take a hit for Meg, literally. What starts as Meg finally finding something she is good at quickly turns into a bloodbath, and Chris ends up diving into the chaos to protect her. The setup is innocent enough. Meg goes to the skating rink for a birthday party, and a roller derby coach notices her build. He tells her she has the perfect frame for the sport and invites her to try out. For once in her life, Meg is excited. She finally gets to do something that does not end in humiliation.
Take my card.
I am a registered sex offender.
Flip it over.
Important. See other side.
Chris tags along for support, though his support mostly looks like him lurking with a camera and snapping creepy photos.
Bend down and touch your toes.
Memory card full? Come on!
But Meg quickly adapts to the brutality of roller derby. On the track, she is aggressive, fearless, and even a little scary. The crowd loves it, and for once Meg actually has fans cheering her on. Chris is proud, but also worried. He watches his sister slam other players, throw elbows, and get hit hard herself. The sport is way rougher than he expected, and he starts to realize this could end badly.
This sport's even more dangerous than skeet shooting. Pull! I got in the wrong line!
At home, Meg insists she is fine and tells him she finally feels confident for once. For Meg, this is not just a sport. It is the first time she has felt powerful. Chris, however, cannot shake the fear that one wrong move could cause permanent damage.
Plus, I love making other women bleed. Besides the way, they normally bleed.
She means periods.
Yeah, I got it, Stewie.
His fears come true in the middle of a big game. Meg takes a nasty fall and is about to be trampled by the other skaters. Without thinking, Chris jumps into the ring to shield her. The crowd gasps as Chris gets flattened. Meg rushes to his side, panicked, and for a rare moment, the siblings actually share some genuine love.
I got hurt because I didn't belong out there. But you do. You found your calling, and I believe in you.
In the end, Meg returns to the track, inspired by her brother's sacrifice, and continues to compete with even more determination. Chris limps away battered, but in his own dopey way, he proved that underneath all the insults and blackmail, he really does care about his sister. But for every moment of loyalty, there is a disaster waiting around the corner. Next, Chris and Meg cause absolute chaos when they accidentally injure Stewie and scramble to cover it up. If there is one thing you should never trust Chris and Meg with, it is responsibility. And in season 8 episode 15, the siblings prove exactly why. What begins as Chris snooping through Meg's diary quickly turns into them accidentally sending Stewie tumbling down the stairs and then scrambling to cover up the evidence like to third-rate criminals. It all kicks off when Chris decides it would be funny to dig through Meg's diary. Instead of secrets, he finds disturbing notes about missing tampons and headaches, which is about as far from comedy as you can get. Meg catches him, and the two start wrestling over it. In the middle of their fight, Stewie innocently tries to pass by on his way to play grocery store. Wrong place, wrong time. They knock him down the staircase, and the baby is left unconscious at the bottom.
What do we do?
Is he breathing?
It looks like it. That's a good sign, right?
Now, normal siblings would panic and call for help, but this is Chris and Meg.
Is Stewie in here?
Yeah, yes.
Well, can you give him to me? It's time for his dinner.
Oh, don't worry, Mom. We'll bring him down.
They drag Stewie into his high chair, slap a hat on him, and try to fake that he is perfectly fine. They even move his limp arms around like a puppet, pretending he is eating dinner. Of course, their act is so bad that even Peter, the dumbest person in the house, immediately realizes something is wrong.
So, question. How long has Stewie been unconscious?
Oh my god, Chris, he knows.
The cover-up only gets darker from there. Meg suggests makeup to hide his bruises. Chris doodles eyeballs on Stewie's eyelids to make it look like he is awake. It is pure horror show logic, but they are committed. For a moment, it looks like their insane plan might even work, but Stewie keeps slipping into even scarier states, and it is clear they are in way over their heads.
Oh, crap. You smell that? That's brain smell.
In the end, Stewie pulls through, but it is another perfect example of how Chris and Meg always make a bad situation 10 times worse. Their sibling teamwork never saves the day, it just digs the hole deeper. And speaking of digging holes, their next adventure takes them straight to a funeral, where Chris ends up playing the role of a dead man. Most siblings prank each other, but in season 11, episode 19, Chris and Meg end up pranking an entire funeral. And not just any prank. They literally turn Chris into a stand-in corpse when things go sideways at the mortuary. It starts when Meg accidentally wanders into a funeral home bathroom and bumps into the mortician. Instead of kicking her out, he is impressed that she is not squeamish and offers her a part-time job helping prepare bodies. Meg, desperate for any kind of validation, agrees. For once, she has something important to do, and she is actually proud of herself. But Chris cannot leave her alone. He barges in, cracks jokes about stiff bodies, and starts moving them around like puppets. He even makes one pick its nose, because of course Chris would do that. Meg scolds him, but Chris keeps escalating, and then the real disaster hits. One of the caskets is empty. Chris admits he borrowed the body to sneak into R-rated movies and accidentally left it in a swimming pool, where it literally fell apart.
And there's going to be a body in that casket. If it's not his, it's going to be yours.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Now Meg is panicking. They cannot have a funeral without a body. They slap a fake beard on Chris, dress him in a suit, and stick him in the casket as the replacement corpse. The scene at the wake is as disturbing as it is hilarious. Chris struggles to stay still, twitches when people talk about him, and even begs Meg to scratch his crotch because dead people don't scratch their balls.
If I can't scratch them, you have to!
To make matters worse, the widow mentions her husband was an organ donor, and someone arrives asking for his face. Chris is literally about to get harvested before Meg yanks him out of the coffin and drags him away. Somehow, they escape without being caught, but the damage is done. But if pretending to be a corpse was not awkward enough, things get even more uncomfortable when Chris and Meg lock lips at a Halloween party. Family Guy never shies away from uncomfortable comedy, and in season 9, episode 4, Chris and Meg manage to cross a line that has haunted fans ever since. What starts as a regular Halloween party quickly spirals into one of the most awkward sibling moments in the show's history. Meg shows up to the party in a cat costume, ready to finally fit in and maybe even get a kiss. Chris, dressed as Optimus Prime, is also there, equally desperate for attention. The party is rowdy, full of teens, and eventually someone suggests a game of spin the bottle. It is innocent enough until fate decides to aim the bottle directly at Meg and Chris.
My god, you're gonna hook up with a boy! I know! I can't believe it!
Neither of them realize who the other is because of their masks. The crowd cheers and they are pressured into heading into the closet for 7 minutes in heaven. At first it is awkward silence, then the kissing starts, and it does not stop. By the time they stumble out, they have gone well past the 7 minutes, and everyone is staring. That is when they pull off the masks and realize the horrifying truth.
Chris?
Meg?
Oh my god!
This is not just a wild sibling moment. It is one of those Family Guy scenes that proves the writers love taking the most uncomfortable idea possible and running with it. And as wild as that was, nothing tops the moment Chris and Meg go from victims of bullying to absolute killers in a cafeteria showdown.
We're disgusting! We're a disgrace to our family!
Oh, maybe I can
get in on this.
If there is one episode that shows just how far Chris and Meg can go when pushed, it is season 16, episode 6. What begins with Brian tweeting something stupid quickly escalates into Chris and Meg unleashing a massacre in their school cafeteria. Brian kicks off the chaos by posting a cringy joke about being white and going to college. The internet does what the internet does best and explodes with outrage. Soon, the entire Griffin family is being targeted, and Chris and Meg find themselves ostracized at school. No one will sit with them, insults are flying, and they are treated like outcasts more than usual.
Uh-oh, Meg. It's a sensitivity mob.
It was just a joke.
There's no such thing as jokes anymore.
Things boil over at lunch. Chris and Meg try to sit down, but a bully flicks Chris's hat, mocking him in front of everyone. That little gesture is enough to set them off. Chris snaps, Meg follows, and together they turn into a tag team of pure violence. What follows is less of a fight and more of a massacre. They cut throats, smash bones, and snap necks. It is like Kill Bill, but with cafeteria trays and teenage rage. The entire lunchroom is left in ruins, students strewn across tables and floors, while Chris and Meg stand victorious. For once, they are not the butt of the joke. They are the ones dishing out the pain. The absurdity of the scene makes it unforgettable. Of course, this is Family Guy, so the moment is played for dark laughs instead of actual consequences. By the next episode, everything resets and Chris and Meg are back to being bullied. I'll leave it here, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, or Meg will kiss you. Bye.